Coq au vin is a famous French dish, and the Spanish version, Pollo Tinto, is fairly similar. Both of them mean chicken in wine. The major difference is we use red wine in the Spanish one, and we add a little chocolate. Hang around and you'll see if it works. Now, like most slow cooked meals, this takes advantage of secondary cuts. Now with chicken, there aren't really that many secondary cuts, but we're talking about the Maryland, so the thigh and the drumstick. So that's what we're going to use, thigh and drumstick, which everyone knows what the drumstick is, and that's the thigh. You can keep them together if you wanted to, but I've just separated them. I'm going to pop them in a little tray, put some flour on them, and the flour is mainly to help thicken our sauce. So a little bit of flour, and then I'm going to get my pan on. I want it to be nice and hot. And I'll dust these, move them around, just so we get a nice coating. Now, as I said, this is really to thicken. So it means that you don't have to go back later, make a roux and thicken your stock up or your sauce up if it hasn't reduced and thickened like you want to. So it's just a bit of a time saver and covers you if you don't want to reduce the sauce right down. The other good thing about dishes like this is you don't have to be an amazing cook to create a good Coq au vin or Pollo Tinto, because the longer it cooks, which is a slow cooked dish, the more flavour is going to develop in there. A little bit of oil in our pan. I'm going to cook the chicken and take it out and then cook off my vegetables. So 2 rounds of cooking so I don't overcrowd our pan, so we can get some really good colour on what we've got in there. And then I'm just going to leave this, I'm leaving the skin on. You don't have to, again, I just like the flavour, the extra flavour that you get out of the skin. And with slow cooked dishes, it's all about flavour. But if you wanted to take the skin off to try and be a little bit healthier, you most certainly can. The chicken is nice and brown, so we've got some colour, which means some flavour on there. So I'll take that out, pop it back in our little tray, and then we'll get our vegetables in. So celery and bacon. Bacon's not a vegetable, but get the idea. A little knob of butter. Then some mushrooms, which I'm going to keep whole, and same with the shallots, I'm going to keep them whole as well. Give that a mix. And then I'm just going to let that sit. Again, try and build up some colour. The guide on this is really your shallots. You want your shallots to have some good colour on the outside and start to become translucent and soft. And then we know we're ready to put in the next layers of flavour. We've got some really good colour on our mushrooms and on our shallots, and the shallots, the outside, are starting to go nice and clear, which is spot on. So I'll give that one last mix. And I'm going to add in my spices. So I've got on here some cinnamon, some thyme, and some allspice, and some oregano. So cinnamon, that can all go in. About a teaspoon of oregano, teaspoon of allspice or pimento, a couple of sticks of oregano or sprigs of oregano, and a couple of quills of cinnamon. So give that a mix through. And then some tomato paste. About a tablespoon of tomato paste, which I'll cook out to get rid of that sort of sweet and acidic flavour that it can sometimes have. So give that 30 seconds just to cook that tomato paste out. And you can tell just by the colour that's in the pan now and the smells coming off it that we've got a really good base. A couple of bay leaves, pop them in. Then some garlic, which I've chopped really finely. So you put that in at this point, because if we put that in to begin with, it was chopped really fine, it's going to burn and it can taste quite acrid or bitter. Mix all that through. Then our wine. Now, your wine is going to flavour the whole dish, so don't buy a $3.99 bottle. Get something that's decent that you can drink with the dish. So half of it goes into the dish, half of it goes into a glass to have with the dish. Red wine goes in. I'm going to cook that down for about 5 minutes until I get it to a nice simmer. And then I'm going to pop my chicken back in with some stock. That has been ticking away for about an hour. Now, if you've got a slow cook, you can put it in there, or you can just put a lid on it and put it in the oven if you want. I've done it on the stove top so I can keep an eye on it. Chocolate, 20 grams of dark chocolate, which I'm just going to stir in Gives it a beautiful richness. Dark chocolate and red wine are a match made in heaven. And this thickens the sauce up, gives it a nice little sheen, and just adds another depth of flavour. And then that is pretty much done. I'll chop a little bit of parsley to go on top. And this is the kind of dish that you would serve in the pot. So you don't need to get a bowl. Less washing later. Chop some parsley, sprinkle that on top. And I would serve that with some crusty bread. You've got about half a bottle of wine left, which of course you're going to have it with that. Red wine, crusty bread, and Pollo Tinto.